to
Live, Laugh, Lol.
We've still got cancer.
Still got it.
So we promised part 2 of our complementary therapies because, as always, we love to have a chat. And the first episode was very long. We didn't realise how much complementary stuff we were doing.
Yeah, we're so responsible for our own diagnosis that we're like, as in not responsible for getting it, but we're so responsible for trying our best to help ourselves.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a lot to cover here.
Yeah.
But actually that even goes to just mindset of when it feels like something's happened to you and you're the passive person in the situation, there's something about trying to take control and doing what you can, and that helps with your mental health as well.
Yeah.
So in the last episode we talked about supplements, we talked about oxygen therapy, lots of other stuff, and in this one we're going to focus on exercise.
Yeah, mostly exercise, and then we didn't cover a bit about therapy.
Actual therapy.
Skincare, all the toxics, skincare, plastics, and product like toxins in your products that you use at home,
like detergents and stuff.
Yeah, and then a little bit on second opinions as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So should we start with exercise?
Yeah, let's do it.
So exercise for me has been a big one since the beginning, because when I say the beginning, I mean the stage 4 beginning, because when it's in your bones and when you start the menopause, they're extra worried about you getting osteoporosis, which is something that like menopausal women can have or something.
Yeah.
And it's something to do with weak bones.
Yeah, so it means you're more likely to get fractures and stuff.
Yeah. So they basically prescribed me, without prescribing me, to do strength training. So they were like, you need to start doing strength training. So it wasn't like running, they weren't like just general exercise, strength training.
That's good that they told you that.
Oh, it's so good, because it did, like, literally I left and sorted a PT and got to the gym, and I've been quite good since then.
Yeah, you have. Well, you showed the listeners your muscles before.
I did.
Is it time for a progress update?
It is. And also, can I just say that my left muscle has begun to grow. So before, my right muscle you could see, but my left one you couldn't.
Woo! Look at that. That's actually really big.
And then my left one.
Yeah.
It is there a tiny bit.
I'm very impressed.
It wasn't there at all before. And these are like the first muscles I've ever had. So nothing like a bit of cancer to get you some muscles.
Yeah. Ironically, the most fit and healthy you've probably ever been.
100% the most fit and healthy I've ever been. The whole situation is incredibly ironic. But here we are. So I do strength training.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I started the strength training, I was like, oh, is that just, to make my bones denser? So if like I hold a weight and I'm putting pressure on my bones, and maybe my bones are then like getting heavier and thicker and more dense. I don't know why I thought that, but just maybe. I do know why I thought that. Mark suggested that could be what it was. Anyway, I went to a PT and she explained to me that in this one instance, the first instance that anyone could ever think of where Mark was wrong, but what it is when you do exercises, strength exercises, it's something about, she tried to explain it to me, I don't fully understand, it's like the pulling of where the tendons and muscle are pulling against the bone.
Ooh.
But in a good way, like as in the stretching out and bulking up and putting like the pressure on the bone. She said it's something to do with that, which then like maybe it stresses out the bones, then the bone has to build up,
get bigger to
get more dense,
deal with the muscle pulling.
So that could be wrong, but that is what I understood from what I was told. But it's not that she was wrong, it's that I might have misunderstood, but that is what I understood.
Great.
So there you have it.
So strength training, super helpful, and we both got sent this by
loads of people.
But they've only recently done a really interesting, I think it was a clinical trial, where they basically had 2 groups of people. One, they just gave an information leaflet to about like an exercise regime, crack on, figure out for yourself. The other one, I think, actually got prescribed a PT once a fortnight, or...
I thought it was twice a week.
Okay.
It was regular. They were told to go to this PT session, and they were checked on, so they did go to a certain strength session every week or every 2 weeks or twice a week, whatever it was.
And the results, I can't also remember exactly off the top of my head, but they were really, really positive on, I think it was like a 39% reduction in death.
So maybe maybe for this one, we put the paper in the link.
Yeah.
We'll put the paper for this one in the link, which we normally wouldn't do because we don't want to like advertise all the different things that are suggested by papers.
But this one was a really, and I think even the BBC and stuff picked it up. So
it's just like, exercise, like you can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
You're not going to harm yourself by doing a bit of exercise. So we feel, touch wood, so we feel confident that we can share this one.
Yeah, but I think what it was, when they looked at it against some chemotherapies, it had kind of stronger outcomes. And so they were really like, it's such good evidence that it should become like a prescription now, really. Like you would have a medicine treatment.
It was like, in some cases, they were saying it was as good as the medicine, except without the side effects. Like it could make that much difference. Now, we are not saying that you can exercise your way out of cancer.
No, I don't think that's what they're saying either.
No, but we are saying that you could give this a go to try and help yourself and see what happens.
Yeah, it is meant to be really good for your longevity and your health. So that's really good, and that has motivated me to just start with a PT, because previous episodes I was complaining that I didn't have the energy,
which is fair enough.
Which is fair enough, but also there's that whole thing with chemo is they kind of say,
be kind to yourself.
There is, be kind to yourself, but also that if you you shouldn't just
be too
sit
kind to
around
yourself
and lie in bed all the time. Like if you feel like you can do it, then actually getting up and out will give you more energy. And I have found that with chemo fatigue, like if I am feeling on the verge, like, I really can't be bothered, I'm really tired, but I'll get myself up and I'll go. Usually seeing friends, getting up and doing something, going for a walk or whatever, it actually does give me more energy. So
like it's a bit of a misconception that you should really relax, but obviously if your body really needs it, do it. We're not trying to be really tight, but to try and push yourself to do exercise is like the new big thing.
And I can say it has worked for me. So I've now
got your PT, and you need to tell us more about your PT. So Jess is seeing her PT twice a week.
Yeah.
I see mine once a week, but she's about to give birth, so I'm about to have a time without her and trying to find someone new. And yours, and I love mine, if you're watching, Rachel, but yours sounds great.
Yeah, she's very thorough. I mean, it depends. Obviously, you get what you pay for, and PTs are very expensive.
Yeah, they are.
But she's done a whole analysis of my kind of posture and my gait, and she made me do loads of different exercises to see where I was as like my baseline. And she took my weight on one of those fancy scales where it tells you how much body fat and muscle percentage and stuff you have. But in classic bowel cancer style, classic me bowel cancer style, I was obviously having loads of issues with my bowels in that they'd pumped me full of morphine for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So I was really constipated.
And
then you have to take laxatives to get rid of that. But because I was getting a bit nervous that I was constipated for so long, I'd really gone hard on the laxatives. So apparently one of the ways that it makes things move is that it just fills your bowel with water to soften all the poo going. And so she's there taking these before and after pictures of me, and my belly is I look like I'm 6 months pregnant because it's so full of all this water. And then I don't know what a decent water retention percentage is, but I was the most full of water I feel like I've ever been.
But you can also put loads of weight on with water retention.
Well, let's not hope that that's what my weight gain's
I know,
all
that's
about.
what I'm thinking.
But yeah, so
that's sad.
There's going to be some weird.
Is she going to do that with you every week?
No, every month.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like because I'm on a chemo break at the moment, before I decide clinical trial or chemo, it is the time to get my weight up, get my muscle some muscle stored.
But you do have some muscles there, because Jess says that she's only just started a PT, which she has, but you weren't resting on your... Yeah, but when you did it the other way, do the 6 swans one. You see? That is there. That's there. When Jess was... Before Jess started the PT, you were doing yoga.
Yeah, yoga and trying to get my steps in.
You did that April challenge where she did like...
Yeah, thank you everyone for sponsoring me for that. Active April, so I did something every day. Something active every day in April.
And how much did you earn for charity?
God, it was...
Thousands?
Yeah, a few grand.
Just a few grand.
So I thought I was only going to get 500 quid, but I think I got 2.5 grand.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
So she has been really active.
Yeah, but now I'm glad that I've got the strength training in there as well as like the next piece of the puzzle. So hopefully whatever treatment I have won't knock me out from doing that, but I'm pretty determined to keep on going with that. So
yeah. And
that's positive.
Since, apart from strength training, I am doing Pilates, Reformer Pilates.
Oh, yeah.
You were thinking of joining.
Yeah, I do really want to do that.
You should do it.
I have done it in the past. It's really... And you see all those Instagram reels of like rugby players trying to do it and they just can't cope. It is a lot harder than it looks.
It's one of those, I think it's like yoga. It's like some people just in one pose, you're like, sure, but really your legs are shaking and you think you're about to fall on the floor and you're like, I can't be the one to give in out of a class full of like 15, or in my Reformer Pilates there's only 4, but in yoga when there's more people. But so that's good, and that's good strength, because yoga and Pilates are good for you because of their strength, but they are using your own body weight for strength.
Yeah, body weight exercises.
So that's really good. Yoga, Pilates, strength training. You do running, but you've not been doing so much running.
No, I haven't done any running, but I used to run. I used to
run.
like it for the endorphins.
I should do more running because I lose track of my cardio. So
but I did see, like, they say that 10,000 steps a day for even walking is beneficial if that's what we feel that you can do. And that's all I was doing for quite a while. But I did see a thing that's actually, that 10,000 steps I think is from the Tokyo Olympics, where it just sounds good in Japanese.
No.
And so they just pick 10,000 as like a number.
Do you know what it is in 10,000 in Japanese?
No.
That's sad.
But apparently the health benefits after 9,000 steps, I think I read somewhere.
I don't believe this at all anymore.
It plateaus.
You've ruined it now. You said about the 10,000 steps.
Yeah, well, you can still do 10,000 if you want to.
Maybe. I'm not really a step person. I know a lot of people that do their exercise by doing the steps. I don't do it by that
Oh, I love tracking it on my Aura ring.
I like to track it, but then I'm sad when it's lower than 10,000. So I only look at my steps when I've done a really big walk. I don't look at it daily. That would be sad. But I do walk. But
yeah, you do hiking as well. You're marking
they're the only days I'd look at it. Fair. So me and Jess are both big into our exercise regimes. As you can tell, we're so fit and strong. And we really think that is good for anyone to get into. Yeah. That one we will endorse.
Yeah. One that we are, again, it's maybe on the further out end of things, some of the books that we have been reading.
Yeah. There's quite a few different popular books that you can get, and that we both ended up getting at near the beginnings of our diagnoses.
Yeah, exactly. So it really, I mean, the book is out there. You can read the reviews. You can pick for yourself what you want to take from it or what you don't. But there's that Jane McKellen one is one that we both read.
That's called How to Starve Cancer, and the vague premise of it is how to starve the cancer without starving yourself, because cancer eats so many different things. Like, you can starve cancer, obviously you give it no fuel, but you would die because you have to eat and drink and live.
Your cells in your body
also
need to function.
So it's about, like, is there a way of creating your body to help starve the cancer but not starve yourself? So she talks about all the supplements that we talked about in the last episode. She talks about exercise. She talks about diet, and we've done our whole food episode. Yeah. She talks about maybe doing paleo diet,
paleo
diet, keto diet, vegan diet, vegetarian diet. She kind of goes through lots of different types. I went more keto, except as we discussed in the food one, not too keto because that had more links to brain cancer than breast. But our full diet is on the food pod, and she also does off-label drugs, which we're being really careful with how we communicate this with you.
Yeah, and obviously you'd have to check with your oncologist if you're in that situation. But the idea behind that is that you use certain drugs that are already quite in circulation.
Well, so yeah, an off-label drug is a drug that already exists. So paracetamol or like aspirin or whatever, but it's off-label when it's used for something other
than its intended purpose. Yeah.
So off-label just means it got given the approval tick for being used for breast cancer, but you're now using it for a different cancer, so it's off-label.
Yeah. So there are some drugs, and some people say that if you use certain drugs, and there's some early studies that might indicate that some of these drugs can cut off certain pathways of the cancer. So I suppose it's like boosting your diet in a way. Like one of them is about cutting the sugar and one of them is about cutting fat. So whether you believe that
should we talk about what the drugs are?
Yeah, can do.
So we're not endorsing it, but because some of you that come to this podcast will have just had a diagnosis and you will have seen about the off-label drugs and you might have some more questions. We very, 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 very much don't have all the answers.
No.
But there's a drug called metformin that's off-label because it's been approved for diabetes.
Yeah.
And that is about lowering your blood sugar level. Mm-hmm. And apart from that, it's also about if the cancer feeds from all of these pathways, supposedly metformin can stop one of those pathways. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, I've not seen the papers or the evidence. This is just some information that we've gathered, but we don't know to what extent all of this is accurate and to what extent in humans this works.
Yeah, because none of this has been clinical trialed against the cancers that...
It's not. Because it's like theory based.
Yeah.
There's...
One's a dewormer.
A dewormer for kids.
And one is a statin.
And one is a dewormer, statin, blood sugar one, and the other one is the
doxycycline.
Thank you, the antibiotic,
yeah.
And like drug for when you get bites and you go away.
There's also
menopause brain.
So there's those, but there's also aspirin is another one that comes up. Again, some people have said if you take aspirin, and I did ask my oncologist about this one, but he said that there is a risk with it making you with bleeds.
Yeah.
And so he was like, because of your bowel situation, you're already at a high risk of bleeding. Anyway, so aspirin is not a good idea.
I asked my oncologist about aspirin and they were like, oh, yeah, loads of people have been asking, I'll get back to you. And then I went back and they were like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, really? They never actually...
They didn't really... Like, all the findings were not directly linked to advanced breast cancer. So, you know, as soon as that happens, they're just not willing to... But there was a clinical trial for aspirin linked to a specific cancer at a specific stage. But it's just not enough to get to be used then on us.
Yeah.
So there's off-label drugs, but it's a very different path to go down, and we can't really comment on it.
Yeah, you'd have to speak to your doctor about it.
But
we see that a lot in the books and online and stuff. There's all like
you could find information on that easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then the other stuff, I suppose, hot and cold.
So I guess the stuff now we're talking about is the stuff that you guys might do anyway for your own well-being, like non-cancer related, but like, do we also do it?
Yeah, and this one I think might be more on the mental health side, like when you do the ice bath and then the sauna. But I have seen stuff also about red light sauna being good.
Yeah, I've read that.
But again, that's not one that either of us have tried, is it? But that's meant to
be good for your skin as well, by the way.
Yeah, those masks.
Yeah.
But that's meant to kind of, I think that's an immune boosting thing, like the red light penetrates your skin and gets all your cells doing stuff. That's my scientific download of what I think red light therapy is.
Do you know what? I think that was really informative. I think now people can go away and really make an
Don't
informed
bother
decision.
reading papers about that one.
That's all you need. And then so there's hot and cold plunges. You know all about it.
Yeah.
We like to do it for fun, but we don't know if it's a health benefit. I've then been reading, like, actually for women it's not good, but for men it is good.
Yeah, and
Who
also
knows?
my acupuncture lady said that it's cold. In Chinese medicine, they're very against women having cold water stuff, because she was like, it's bad for your kidneys, and your kidneys are where your qi is created, and that is, in Chinese medicine, all the life force that's meant to be flowing and keeping you healthy. So she was like, don't fuck up your qi.
Don't fall for it, guys.
So on the fence on that one, but I have done it a fair bit and I do quite like it.
Yeah.
Just for the, again, even if it just makes me sleep. Like when I've done it, like the cold bath sauna, and you go between the two for
It
an
gets you
hour.
tired.
It just makes me sleep so well.
You see, it doesn't... I think it would make me sleep well, as in... I think I would have a good sleep, but it doesn't make me tired, any of that stuff. But so we both enjoy that, but again, we don't know the science. Same with the other thing that we just said that I've already forgotten. What was it?
Red light therapy.
Red light therapy. And then the other one that everyone always does is actual therapy, which we both do, and I'd say we both love.
Yeah, I do love my therapist. And I think part of that is I do see a lot of this stuff online. Again, there's that The Body Keeps the Score book. Have you seen
No, I've not seen that.
So that's, I think, it's not Gabor Mate, but Gabor Mate does something similar.
No idea.
He's a Holocaust survivor, or his mum's a Holocaust survivor, and he's like a psychologist that looked into trauma and how the body stores trauma.
Okay, yeah.
And there is some people online think if you've got loads of trauma, that's what causes cancer, because you're
holding it
holding
in.
all the inflammation in your body and you're storing it all, and it's
My
making
first
everything go wild.
acupuncturist kind of believed, I don't know if she would have said it caused you cancer, but she definitely believed that any of your feelings, including trauma, it's all caged in you somewhere. And that's why getting rid, she described it, which I thought was quite good, as like if you squeeze a spot and you get rid of like pus, or if you go for a wee and you get rid of your waist, or a poo and you get rid of your waist. She was like, if you have a cry, or you might even have a shout, you're kind of getting rid of that energy. So she was all for that stuff really being stored in you, and that's why it's so important to allow yourself your feelings and have a cry, or you're allowed to be angry, and to get it all out. So it's not stored. It's just like getting rid of waste, like having a wee.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I do. So a bit of a spooky discovery, and this might be me being too hippie, but in Chinese medicine, grief is stored in your lungs and anger is stored in your liver.
No.
And obviously they're my two problem areas. We'll ignore that. I don't know what's in your bowel. That was the original one, so it might disprove the theory. But I was like, obviously, I've had a lot of grief in my life, and that is probably, maybe I'm not expressing all my anger because that's in my liver, but when I heard that, I was a bit like, ooh, that's...
It made you tingle.
Yeah.
Because you've lost both parents to cancer, which is incredibly shit.
Yeah. Double grief.
Double grief. Is it in both lungs?
Yeah, I think it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
I shouldn't joke like that, but probably is. I've given up asking where it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's...
Well, and sometimes they add it in, like when I had the peritoneum.
And that was sad.
That was sad.
I feel like when I was first finding out, and I was getting a bit obsessed with like, well, where is it and what should we do, and should I get rid of my second breast because I don't want a second primary breast cancer, which I'm now more likely to get because of the first one. And they were like, look, you've already got cancer, and I really feel like we should focus on the cancer you already have.
Yeah, that's what they said to me when I said, should I go get my smear test? And the guy was like, we already know you've got cancer, let's not go looking for some more.
I love that. And you're like, I kind of get it from like, I do get it, but in the moment, you just think it's really important to know because you've been brought up, it's really important to know.
Yeah, and to have your smear Maybe I should,
Yeah,
but
I would just do it just in case. But now I'm just kind of like, you're right. Do I need to know exactly which bones it's in?
yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe that's not critical information.
No, and like that's how I choose to
Live.
when they're like, do you want to know this, like the size changes and centimeter stuff? I was like,
Oh, do you not find out?
No.
I feel like
They just tell me it's growing somewhere or it's a new bit somewhere else or whatever. I don't want to know it's gone 2 millimeters on that tumour. Because there are a lot of tumours apparently.
yeah.
Not to bring the mood down.
Not to bring the mood down, but she's got
I'll be here for a really long time if they start telling me the measurements of them all.
But can I just say that they don't know all the things that you're doing. They don't know they're dealing with a medical marvel. They don't
Exactly.
know she's going to PT. They don't know all the complementary therapy she's doing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in the stats that will account for all the stuff that Jess is doing, which is why we don't worry, because the stats simply don't include us.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
they don't know, like, what do we care if your tumour's got 2 millimeters bigger or smaller when they don't even know all the stuff that you're doing, so they don't need to worry.
No, and when they find the cure, it'll all shrink anyway.
Exactly. Just waiting for that little cure, but if you could speed up,
Yeah, please.
that would be
Please,
excellent. Please.
And so the last thing, I suppose, when we're talking about making the environment bad for cancer is everything in your house. Cleaning products.
Yeah, well done.
Like laundry detergent, skincare products.
Dishwasher tablets, your clothes.
Dishwasher tablets.
So laundry detergents and dishwasher tablets, we both have swapped.
I don't have a dishwasher. Sad, I am the dishwasher.
Okay,
So,
that is a bit sad.
Yeah.
I love a dishwasher, but only because Mark uses like £5,000. So a dishwasher I'm using, Ecovert tablets. I did a lot of research. One I got heavily marketed was Mother's Earth.
Oh.
And it's sheets. And while it is, I think, one of the best non-toxic from what I read, it wasn't super, super great for me for cleaning. So I've kept it Ecovert. And for laundry detergent, what do you use?
I used Smol for a while, SMOL, which they're my washing up liquid.
Oh, yeah. But you have to have that on subscription only, don't you?
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I
I didn't want to sign up.
I love a subscription. Sign me up. But now I also recently saw Dip for laundry detergent sheets. And so I've started using that because they are fragrance free, and that makes me feel
Good.
better, because a lot of the toxins in these products come from the fragrance. And I think because it's like a market secret,
Yeah.
they don't have to declare what's in each fragrance, because that's like giving away their
They just
intellectual
put
property.
fragrances.
And so there could be a lot of toxins in fragrance unless it's natural
Yeah.
fragrances. So fragrance-free laundry detergent just feels better for me. So I've been using Dip, and it is quite good.
I actually used Dip in the dishwasher and I forgot. But also I've sticked with Ecovert. But I was thinking of starting Dip for the laundry detergent because I read something that was the best. At the minute I go between Ecovert and one called Bio. It might be Bio with a letter at the end, but it's like Bio. And that seems good. But this is just, you try something, you see how it goes.
Yeah.
We've both stopped using plastic bottles and plastic Tupperware and plastic.
Yeah, I think that's important when you're trying to heat it. So using like glass storage containers, if you're going to put something in the microwave, heat it in that rather than plastic, because it'll shed.
We don't want that.
We don't want that.
We both don't, I think you did this too, those pans.
Oh yeah, pans with non-stick coating.
Yeah, got rid
Try
of
and use
those.
stainless steel instead.
Yeah.
Um,
In the kitchen, that might be all. In clothing, I tried the cotton leggings, but I got the smallest size, and it's not even like I'm that small. Like, I reckon they're probably an 8, I don't know. And I'm not the smallest size in other clothes, let's put it that way. I got the smallest size, and they just got a bit baggy because they just don't.
Oh.
So they look good when you first put them on, and then you wear them for like 20 minutes, and then they've already stretched out and they don't come back.
Oh.
So then, even though they look better, they like are better for you, they don't look as good on your figure, which I know isn't what life's about, blah blah blah. But
Yeah, but you want it to fit properly.
you want to look an absolute goddamn queen. It's like, I'm not having cancer and not looking like a goddamn queen.
In the gym with your saggy knees and your saggy bum. It's not what I came here for.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so I have decided the best thing for that is to wear my gym clothes with all the crap material that's in them, but just don't wear them all the time. You know, just wear them at the gym. Don't wear them as my everyday loungewear.
I have tried BAM.
Go on.
BAM. It's meant to be bamboo made clothing, and so non-toxic in that way. And I actually had the opposite problem in that I'm the smallest I've ever been in my life. So I would usually buy a size 10. Now I'm at size 8, I'd say. I bought a size 12 in a gym top because those gym tops are always really tight. So I thought like it'd be fine. And even that cuts in a bit around my rib cage. I don't know if I've got a particularly wide rib cage, but
yeah, okay.
So I find that stuff, sizing is still really small in that.
Maybe they've done that because it stretches.
Yeah, maybe. But it was quite tight.
It's a difficult world to manage his clothes, I'd say.
Yeah, sizing and everything's always wonky, isn't it? But
yeah, it is.
That's more like the classic gym material.
Okay,
and so better than it feels like you're using normal gym wear.
So we're not.
It's meant to be non-toxic.
We're not 100% sure, but at the minute we'd recommend bamboo stuff, not cotton.
Yeah,
it's vaguely where we're at.
That's vaguely what we're saying.
Then you introduced me to an app called Yucca.
Yes. So it's
YUKA,
and the logo's a little carrot. I've been raving about it to everyone.
And then everyone uses it now.
Yeah, which is great. I hope that everyone does.
Tell them about it.
Because it basically, you scan whatever products you want to use. It's skincare and beauty stuff and food, yeah. I don't use it as much for food.
No, I don't.
But it comes up with a list of all the toxins or all the chemicals that are in that product, and then it'll give you a like green, amber, red rating on whether they're harmful to you or not. So usually the red ones are like, you can see some that's like, this is a carcinogen.
Yeah.
And so that's
or
like
shocking
shocking that it's in stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of hormone disruptors and things
in skincare.
Some of them will just be like, usually the amber ones are like fragrances, natural oils, and so that might be an irritant or an allergen. An allergen
or a pollutant. So they're like the amber ones, like if it's bad for the environment or like it might give you a bit of a rash or an itch. It'll be an amber. But then not only does it mark up if it's a carcinogen or a hormone disruptor, it kind of tells you what they found out. So some of them are different depending what the ingredient is, but it'll be like they found in mice that this ingredient caused all these issues. And then in some, it says they found that in mice, in this degree of the product, it caused this issue. But as long as you don't use it as an aerosol, you're fine. And then if your product is a cream, you could still use it. So you can then read it. So the ingredient's bad, but actually if then it's not an aerosol. But it does give you all the information. It's really, really informative.
Yeah, it's really thorough. So you can make then the decision as to how you're using it. And some of them it's like, this product might not be bad on its own, but it makes the absorbency levels of other products higher. And so if you think that you're using like a safe below 1% of this certain thing, but you're combining loads of them together, then you might have more of a risk. And again, you can kind of make that decision. But it's good that the app gives you that information. So, but the only downside to that is I literally scanned everything in my makeup, all of it, pretty much 90% of it I'd say was toxic. And I had a favourite skincare brand that I used to use.
Tell us.
Tell us. Call her out.
I'll call out mine as well.
Okay, Dr. Sam. Dr. Sam Bunting. So I was thinking, she's a dermatologist, like a Harley Street dermatologist, and I used to have really bad acne, and that was one of the only products, her set of products that I used. Like, her cleanser and things that really cleared my skin. It was so good. But when I scanned it, there's only one thing on there that I can still use, which is like the spot, you know, if you've got one and you put it on.
Yeah, you just put a tiny bit on.
That product, but like the cleanser was bad, the moisturiser was bad.
Not good, Sam.
All the basic stuff, and she's a dermatologist.
Well, I've been told that Harley Street doctors are an absolute rip-off, and they just have to charge you lots because they have to cover the rent at Harley Street.
Oh.
So I wouldn't worry too much about anyone that, if you're looking for a second opinion, both Jess and I looked for second opinions, and loads will come up at Harley Street probably. Don't worry about it. They're just covering their rent, so you can go elsewhere. And Christie's and Royal Marsden are the two really big famous ones.
Yeah.
If you look for a second opinion there. And second, I've gone off topic.
Yeah, we should go into second opinions because that is an important
but
one.
then I feel like I should come back to Yucca. But just before I forget, the second opinions thing, you can get a free second opinion. It is your right to get one from the NHS.
Yeah.
You can ask for it to come from a certain doctor or a certain hospital. That doctor might not have time to fit you, and it might be a bit of back and forth, but you can request a doctor, you can request the hospital, and you should get your second opinion.
Yeah.
Do not worry about upsetting anyone, and if you're worried, just say to your oncologist or your doctor, oh, I really don't want to upset you, but I've been told I must, and it's all our fault because we've enforced you to go and get your second opinion. Just go and get it.
Yeah,
and don't put it off.
A big thing that you encouraged me to do, because I had those thoughts. I was a bit like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, and it's so bad that you have to kind of think about your oncologist's ego.
You don't want to hurt their feelings,
but you don't want them to hate you, and so
you need them to love you because you need them to save your life.
Exactly. But yeah, I did get a second opinion as well from Christie's, which is you can look up as well. Certain hospitals are really good for certain cancers, and I think Christie's is good for early onset cancers. It's like young people with cancer.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's a good one for bowel cancer as well. So getting a second opinion from a doctor there. They told me we would still be doing the same plan as you're getting in Leeds, which was reassuring in a way, because I'm like, okay, I'm not missing out on anything that I could be getting elsewhere. And so that was just the reassuring thing.
Yeah, that's great, because Leeds is a great hospital, so we're all pleased by that. I actually, when I was talking about my second opinion, they said that the wait was really long. So I went and I paid for a private one, and it was like £200. And mine was at Royal Marsden, and mine was someone that specialises in hormonal breast cancers. So I Googled, it turns out that not all oncologists are the same. Not only is there bowel or breast or lung or whatever, there's also then, are they clinical ones? There's medical ones, clinical ones that specialise in radiotherapy and stuff.
Yeah, and surgeons,
and surgeons. And then there's ones that specialise in drugs.
Yeah.
So you can start to pinpoint someone that is more knowledgeable about your specific situation.
Yeah.
So go and do that if you've not already. No harm in it.
Yeah.
The best thing they can say is you're on the right tracks. And it's just good, I think, to get your face known, and then if things change, you can go back.
Yeah, and they don't ever tell you that in your oncology meetings. I only knew that because you told me.
And I only knew that because a doctor my friend that's a doctor told me.
Yeah, so I feel like you should just be going for a second opinion. Just email your nurse or your I emailed my nurse and said, can I have a second opinion with this person? But actually the Royal Marsden person that I picked was too busy. That's why I went to Christie's. But they were really nice about it. They're like, yeah, loads of people do it, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, so just go do it. No one's going to be upset.
Yeah. You wanted to go back to Yucca.
I wanted to go back to Yucca. So sorry about that. That's not good podcasting on my behalf. This is an insight into my brain, though. What did I want to say about Yucca, except it's really good? I don't know what I wanted to say anymore, so I'll just end it on... It was made by a few people that just feel passionately about this, and you can use it for free by scanning what you've already got, or you can pay, and it's a little amount for the year. I don't think it's a lot. I think it was a tenner for the year, and it allows you to search all products.
That's good, because I've only got the scan version.
You see, so that means...
So I can't, when I'm looking to buy a new product...
You see, and I look to buy and I search.
I don't know if it's going to be toxic or not.
It's just a high risk.
Toxic or not.
And it slows you down in the shop, because then you go to Boots and you just scan.
I must look like such an idiot. I'm standing in like Sainsbury's looking for new shampoo, like scanning everything, and all of it on the shelves was toxic. So I ordered stuff online in the end for a new shampoo.
What shampoo?
Pass, can't remember.
We'll come back to shampoos. What you can do if you're using Yucca in the supermarket or the shops, they put their own barcode over the top of the packet's barcode, so that when you're scanning, they're scanning the right thing to help them out. It's fine. Sometimes you have to just peel that back a little bit, then scan, and then peel that back on. Just for your information, little tip.
I think we've covered everything there.
Yeah.
Another whistle-stop tour of complementary therapies part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've just got a new diagnosis and you're considering any of this, and there might be loads that we haven't been told about, but over the course of nearly a year that we've been diagnosed, like these are the things that have been suggested to us, these are the things that we've looked at, and some of them we've tried, some of them we haven't. So hopefully there's some useful info in there that you can kind of start to do your own research from. We've condensed it for you.
There you go. You're so welcome. We're going to go because we've ordered a Wagamama's. The reason I'm bringing this up is because they've just started serving cauliflower rice. So we can have rice with our curries. Thank you, Wagamama's. This means an awful lot to us.
Yeah, it does.
If you're someone looking for somewhere to eat in town and you have no idea where to go because it's all carbs, breads and rice, Wagamama's now do cauliflower rice.
Yeah, thank you, Wagamama's.
Thank you, Wagamama's. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.